Welcome back to the garage. Try to get going on this turd again. I really am getting sick of this thing. Anyway, this is where we left off. I got the pots in. Let's go over to the bench and check them out, shall we? All right, these are the pots that we got in. And we'll start with this. This is the solenoid. And I ordered two. I'm going to keep one in my storage pot bin. Seems like these things seem to go all the time. And I don't know if the Yamaha ones are all the same or not, but I'll keep them as a backup. You know, I have a bunch of Yamahas, so we got that. We'll try that out. Next is the starter here. Let's take a look at the starter. This is the starter. Hopefully this will cure our problems with slow crank. Pretty sure it will. Let's move that aside. And then we got the carburetor here. And again, like I said, the carburetor was $35. I bought it on Amazon. You know, not the best carb in the world, but it's going to do what we want it to do. So I think what I want to do first before we do anything is I want to take this apart and check the jetting, see what's going on in here. So let's do that now. It did come with a couple of jets, and they are marked. So I think we're going to have to rejet this a little bit. And if I have to, I'll take the jets out of the carburetor that I have on the machine right now. And this screwdriver is not going to cut it, so let me grab another one. Let's just pop the bowl off real quick and take a look and see. And this main jet is a, is that a 130? A 130. But I'll tell you what, it's pretty big in size, so it looks a lot bigger than a 130. I will say that, so we're going to leave it in there. If anything, it's going to run rich. Don't have the same numbering as the Keenan carbs or the Mikuni carbs. Well, I don't know about Mikuni, but well, Keenan carb for sure. It's not the same. 22.5. That seems awful small. They should be at 25 from the factory. I'm going to change that. All right, we are going to pull the jet out of this because I know it's the jet that I want for the idle. I'm going to check out the main jet too and see what this one is. This is a 27. Let me see what the difference is in holes here, because they don't usually. Yeah, it's funny because even though it's a 27, this one says it's bigger than this one, but this one has a bigger hole in it. So I'm gonna use that because it does have a bigger hole. I hate these Chinese carburetors. They just, it's really hard to jet with them because they're not your standard sizes. So you really don't know what you're getting. But I don't know. We'll try it. I'll throw this jet back in here and we'll put the cover back on and we'll save this for another day. All right, I'm gonna put this back together and throw it on the bike and install the starter, and let's give it a crank and see what happens. Before we go to install this, I just want to check what the air mixture set at. So a little more than 2.5. I like it at 2.5 or a little less, so let's just do that. So that's a half, that's 1, that's a half, that's 2.5. So it was about a quarter turn more than I'd like, but we'll start at that and we'll see how it goes. The new carb is on. I have the temporary line on, and it fit a lot better in this boot. It was really, the other carb was really loose, so I don't think it was actually for this application. That's in there. The new starter is in, as you can see. That's wired up. I haven't done the solenoid starter relay thing. If you guys can see, this thing sat for days, and there's no oil drippage, so that's good. All right, let's I don't know. Let's try starting it. I think this battery is just too weak. Or too weak to start this engine anyways. Or maybe it's just going bad. I don't know. This is the battery that for my generator, and it might be going bad. So this battery is the one that came with this machine, and this battery is no good. It just doesn't hold the charge. But I'm going to run the 2 in series with the charger on it. I'm going to put it on supercharge, Well, I was waiting for it to charge. I took this apart. The starter button is no good. It's bad. I'll show it to you real quick. It's all corroded. It's just no good. So, and I had to break it to get it out. I'm gonna have to get a new controller. I'll have to search eBay for one. It just never seems to end. I was able to put this back in, so we should have spark for that shut off. I have the power on. Let's juice the battery up a little bit. Let's see what happens. Yep, it's not showing anything. All right, I'm gonna put some more oil in this. Come back when I'm done. Works fine. There was no noises when we shut it off. She stopped nice. I think we're in good shape here. Let's see if she fires back up. So we'll fix the electrical on this. That's not, I'm not worried about that at all. I'm very happy, very, very happy. All right, now we can move on to other stuff. So I think now what I want to do is, I think I want to start taking the front end apart and start cleaning this up, now that we know it runs. All right, let's start by removing the wheels. Here's the shocks. They're pretty nasty. We'll clean them up. We'll make them look good. Okay, this is where we're at right now. I took the push bar off and the shocks and all that, and I'm washed them up outside. They're outside drying right now, and we're cleaning those all up, and I'll show you those in just a minute. But what I wanted to show you here is, if you guys remember back when I did that LTZ, and it was the machine that the LTZ 250, it was the one before this. And I took the front wheels off and I replaced the front wheel bearings and all that stuff. And we had a problem with the brake calipers hanging up. Well, we get the same problem with this one. As you can see, they turn really, really hard. It's not the bearings, it's the fact that the calipers are frozen on the slides and they're not spinning freely. And this one here is the same. This should spin freely and it's not. The pads look like they still have some meat on them, maybe, maybe not. I won't know until I pull them apart. But unfortunately, this needs to get fixed. I had to put a little bit of heat right on here. Not a lot, because there's seals and stuff in here. I didn't want to overheat it. I just got it warm. I could not get it to crack with a regular Allen wrench, so I had to put my impact driver on it. I got it to unscrew, but I can't get it to come out. So what I'm doing now is I'm using a drive punch and a hammer, and I am pounding in here. And it already spins a little bit easier than it did, but brakes are definitely frozen. All right, guys, a couple of things. I picked up a couple of wheels. One of the wheels on this is really bent, and we're going to replace it. And he threw this one in. It's got a studded tire on it. He threw this one in. It says it's got a little bit of a bend to it, but we'll check it out. I don't see a dent in it or anything. Maybe it's got a bend to it, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But we're going to replace at least one of the wheels on this, and maybe get a set of tires. I don't know. I mean, it's just more money at this point, you know. All right, I'll show you where we're at for now. And this is where we're at. Everything's all cleaned up, and you can see how nice it spins now. Nice and quiet. Nothing wrong with the bearings at all. I wire wheeled the caliper. Caliper looks nice and new. Compare it to this side. You can see how dirty it is, how grungy, and you can see she just does not want to spin. And the pads look like they're still usable, but we're gonna replace them. These are the pads I took off this side, and you can see that it's got a bit of an angle to it. The line mount off of this, I'm gonna pick the caliper up, and I am just gonna kind of just drape it up here, get it up out of the way. Because I think I'm going to do the bushings first, and then I want to paint the A-arms, and I want to do that with the brake caliper off. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here. I'm going to dismantle this side. You guys kind of already saw how I did that side, so I'll do it off camera and come back when I'm getting ready to do the A-arm bushings. Just want to show you guys real quick how nice these look. And when you take your time, you clean them up. And basically all I did was I just wiped these down with WD-40, and they look really nice. This isn't something that you guys need to do. It's something I do because I flip them. And this kind of attention to detail is what separates mine from the rest on Marketplace. And when someone's out there looking for something, they're gonna buy the clean one 10 out of 10 times before they buy the dirty, rusty one. And that's just the way it is. So that side's done, and it looks fantastic. And this side's done, and it looks fantastic. All right, What I did notice is that this right here is the mount for the brake lines, and it snapped off the frame, so I got to weld that back on. And I need to weld these as well. I'm not going to video the welding because I'm actually videoing right now with a brand new camera, a brand new GoPro 10. My other GoPro started getting fuzzy, like the recording was fuzzy and not very clear. It should be 4K and it's not. It's because I've been videoing welding flash and I kind of ruined the camera. So I'm not going to use this one for welding anymore. Actually, I'm not going to video welding anymore at all. So when I do my welding, it'll be off camera. I also have to weld this ring back on, the fender support. And I'm just going to stick this in a vise and bend that. Man, the wind is blowing out there. We just got a massive snowstorm. I'll show you guys. We just got a massive snowstorm yesterday. And it is very, very cold and windy out right now. And as you can see, not a fun place to be. Anyway, let's get back on this. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the top one first. It just makes it easy than trying to take the whole thing apart here at one time. So we're going to pull the caps off. And then inside here there's spacers. I'll take those out. And then you have the plastics that you got to get out of here. These plastic bushings. I've drilled them out in the past to get them out of here because they're not very easy to get out. We'll try with a pair of pliers and see what happens. We're gonna have to drill them out. And you don't need a really big drill. You just need something that's gonna allow you to snap them in half. And it's, like I said, it's just black Delrin. So they'll drill pretty easy. You just want to make sure you get the drill in there straight. All right, I went through one side, do the same on the other. That went through. This is the screwdriver that I'm going to be using. Just a flat blade, nothing fancy. And this is kind of where it gets tricky because you got to try to hold this thing while you're doing it. But like I said, it is plastic, so it's not that big a deal. And that's pretty much it. Just grab a pair of pliers. There it is. That's how you get them out, guys. Pretty simple. Not that big a deal. Basically, I don't know if you can still see the holes, but you just drill 2 holes opposite each other and then split them and they come right out. All right, I'm going to do the rest of these, and it's going to take me a little while to get the rest of these out. I'll come back when I'm getting ready to assemble. Brand new bushings. And what I did was I cleaned all the grease out of here. I wire wheeled it. These have Zerks on them, so it's pretty nice that you can actually inject grease. And we'll probably do that. I was able to pound these out with a drive pin, and you can see they're pretty worn. You can see that this you guys can see that, but that, try putting something behind it. That hole isn't round anymore. Sort of oblong shape, so the A-arm was kind of rocking back and forth, and when you ride it like that, the front end is real rattly and it just feels like you're riding a piece of junk. These bushings were like $22 on Amazon. You know, it's a little bit of work to replace them, but it's worth it because the bike just runs better, and they just push in. The new ones will just push in because they're not all stuck and corroded. And that's all these are, is just bushings. And you just push them in there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up the collars. And these collars are for spacing. It's basically what they do so you can't over crank on the bearings, on the bushings themselves. I took the caps over to the wire wheel and I cleaned them up. Got all the corrosion and rust off them. The seals inside still look good. I have one screw in. And that's it, guys. That's it. That's all she wrote. Now the top bushings are rebuilt, ready to go. Now I just got to do the bottom and the other side. And once I torque these down, we'll come back later and I'll put the grease gun on here and I'll fill these zerts full of grease. And we'll be good to go. Well, I think before I get to the A-arm on this side, I'm going to weld that tab back on there. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to pull this out of the way. And I'm going to buzz that tab on. Front suspension's complete. As you guys can see here. Moves nice and freely. Nice and smooth. This side, same thing. Nice and smooth. Now, everything is still loose, as you can see. I do not advise tightening up your suspension until the bike is sitting on its weight. Basically, put the wheels on, put the shocks in, and when the shocks go in, they got to stay loose as well. And then once the bike is sitting on its weight, then you tighten everything up. And that's the way I've been taught to do it. And I guess if you tightened it with a full droop like this, these things are going to end up moving when you start hitting bumps and stuff, because they're going to end up, most of your pressure is up force, not down force. So you want to have everything settle in the up before you tighten it. And I don't know if I showed you guys the shocks, but these are the shocks here. I cleaned them all up and they came out really nice. The chrome came out nice. I just wire wheeled them, that's all. And they came out nice. I'm not going to put those on yet. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint the silver. Well, I got it pretty much stripped down with the brakes off and everything. So I'm going to paint the silver A-arms right now, dress those up. I welded this on. That's in there nice now. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to have to, I don't have any of this candy apple paint. So I'm just going to probably tape this all off and just hit it with some black paint just so it won't rust. But that ain't going nowhere. That's on there now. I've shown this paint in other videos. It's just wheel paint. You can get it at any auto parts store. And as you can see, it is absolutely a perfect match for the metallic silver that they paint frames and A-arms with and stuff. Honda uses this color on their frames, and so does Yamaha. And I think Suzuki as well. Yeah, Suzuki uses it as well. I think they all do, actually. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint this up. This is a high metallic, very thin paint, so you have to just mist it on in multiple multiple coats. Light, multiple coats. I'm going to do that now, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Alright guys, all painted up, good and dry. I let it sit overnight. They look fantastic. These A-arms came out nice. They look brand new. Painted this. This is all dry. I'm going to assemble that. I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the brake calipers on. I'm going to put the new pads in. Everything's wire wheeled, cleaned up, looking good. All I have to do is grease it and assemble it. I'm going to do that off camera because I have that in multiple videos already. And I'll come back when I'm going to put the shocks in. Calipers are on. I haven't squeezed the brake lever yet because I need to get this cover off, and that's stripped. That one came out, that one's stripped. I can't get it out. I'm going to drill it out, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it, because most people run into this problem at some point. All right, so you just get a drill that is slightly bigger than the threads themselves, and you just drill it in. It doesn't take much, and I'm doing this with one hand. And you'll know when you're through because the cap of the screw will just start spinning. There it is. As you guys can see there, it's off. It's that simple. All right guys, I didn't film it, but there's the screw. And I used my easy out and my impact gun in reverse, and it pulled it right out again. This is what I use. Tough test. And again, I don't know where you can buy these. My dad gave this to me. I don't know where he got it, but this thing has been a lifesaver. And you just put them in the impact gun, and between the power of the impact gun and the reverse action of the drill, it pulls them right out. Anyway, as you can see now, I put some tape on there just in case to make sure I didn't get nothing down inside the master cylinder, which I didn't, and we're good to go. So I'm going to fill that up and we're going to start pumping. I'll have to find a new screw for this. I don't know if I have one. I might have one in my kit, but it won't be the right one, but I'll use it for now until I get the right one. All right, we're going to throw the front shocks in now. If you guys remember, I cleaned them all up nice. They look good. Just lift this up until you get it in line. Throw your screw in. That's it. And as you can see, everything still has play in it because I'm not going to tighten it until there's weight on it from this weight on the suspension. It looks really good, right? But the shocks still look shitty. So I got shock protectors for them to cover that up. I'm going to throw those on now. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Shock covers are on, and it looks fantastic. It covered up all the rust, and this is just a really cheap way to dress the bike up, especially if you're going to flip it. I bought generic covers off of I think it was Amazon, and they might have been 30 bucks. It came with all three. I still have the real one that I got to put on, and if you look back here, you know, the real one doesn't look too bad, but it is pretty dirty, and it'll look a lot better with the cover on. It just really makes it look nice, neat, and clean. So the front suspension is all done. The brakes are done. Everything up front here is done. I'm going to throw the tires on it, put it on its own weight, tighten everything up, and then I'm going to do that off camera because you guys don't need to see that. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to end this video here, and when we come back, it'll have the front wheels on it. I do have a couple of wheels down here. One of the rims is bent. One of these rims here is bent. I think it's this one. No, it's that one. You can see it's even flat right here. This thing wobbles really bad, and the tires aren't that great. So I might just buy a set of tires, throw them on these wheels here, and it'll have brand new front tires on the front. The rear's still got some meat on them. They'll still be fine. They're a little bit hard, but they're holding there. They'll be fine. So that's it. I want to thank you guys for watching, subscribing, liking, sharing, all that stuff. This thing's coming along. We still got a ways to go. Hopefully the back will look as nice as the front, which it will. I'll clean it all up, give it a coat of paint, and it'll look really nice. This bike is going to be sweet when it's done. And if you want to see this thing done, keep watching. Hit the notification button. You'll get notified the next time I post a video. Like, share, all that stuff. Comment. I like talking to you guys. So on that note, I am going to go, and I will come back in the next video, and we'll do a lot more work to this Raptor 350.